Hey guys, I'm Holly. Angela's next to me in the gallery view. And then we've got Tara and Jaedyn joining us from Midknit Cravings out in Watrous, Saskatchewan. They are sponsors of our Edmonton Fibre Frolic May virtual festival, and we're so excited. I don't think you guys have ever actually participated before, right? Because it's such a long drive to get here physically.
Yeah, we were going to do 2020 was going to be our first one. And then, that didn't work out. So yeah, this is our very first Edmonton Fibre Frolic that we've been able to come and do. So we're like super excited.
Yeah. Oh gosh, we're so excited to have you. I love your colors.
Thank you.
So tell us about where you are. And yeah, we'll go from there.
Okay. Do you want me? Yeah, you can go for it. All right. So we're located in Watrous, Saskatchewan. So we're kind of in central Saskatchewan between Saskatoon and Regina. And we're just about 3 to 4 minutes away from us is a lake called Little Manitou Lake, which is a tourist spot in the summer because it's known as the Dead Sea of Canada. So what it is super salty lake. It's got a lot of healing and health properties to it. So we have a lot of visitors and tourists in the summer. The beach, I think the population doubles or even triples in the summertime. So yeah, it's a pretty cool area to live in. It's windy most times. We've got snow today. End of May long weekend, we always get snow. So
yeah, it was 32, just
32 on Monday and -4 today.
Welcome to Saskatchewan.
Yeah, you can swim in the lake between July and August, and that's it.
But in that July and August window, people could come visit you at your shop and see your beautiful little house, right?
Yes. Right now we're closed due to COVID, but we are hoping to open up hopefully fall. Again, I think we're going to miss the summer season just because of everything with pandemic wise, and we've got kids and things like that. So, but normally, yes, we do have a shop in front, and our studio is located in the back of our house here.
Okay. So
sounds like the ideal setup.
Yeah, it really is. We were lucked out when we found this little spot because we needed to get out of Tara's house because she couldn't get away from work. It was always downstairs, so she always felt like she needed to be working till midnight, and I was at home like knitting, and she's mad at me. So I'm like, to preserve our relationship, we needed to get out of her house.
She'd get to leave at 3 because the kids were coming home, and I'd be downstairs finding yarn until 11. So this is best solution for us.
We can leave work and go home, and which is very ideal.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, you first. Me first. You can go first because I did all the talking just a minute ago. Okay.
So yeah, tell us about your sweaters. Who's going first?
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, this sweater is the Noni from Pip and Pin, and this isn't actually a colorway that we carry, but it was a mess up. But we were trying to rescue a color that didn't work, and so Jaedyn threw it's our smoke and mirrors actually, and then it didn't work out so well, and so she threw some bright speckles on it, and so we had 3 of them, and I'm like, that is mine.
Yeah, I know, she stole them and I really wanted them. My husband actually dyed that color because I was on medical leave at the time from something that happened to me last year, and so he was helping, and every time you dye something, you get a completely unexpected result in the pants. And so he didn't have the same technique that Tara and I did. So it flashed or pooled. It got really dark in some spots. And so to salvage it, because it just didn't look like our regular smoke and mirrors. So I threw some speckles on it and threw it in our proofer. And then Tara stole it. I was trying to keep it, but she wouldn't let me.
She gets all of the other yarns,
I do. I steal most of them. I have a big stash at home of like missed dyes.
So this one spoke to me and it became one of my favorite tops. So
yeah, and it's nice because it's a short sleeve and everything. So it's a kind of an all season. I wear mine too. I didn't wear mine today because I figured she'd be wearing hers. So didn't want to be too matchy.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and so then this one is this Vague by Caitlin Hunter. And so I did it in basil, and this is curtsy. So you can't really see, but this one's like a light speckle. It's mostly cream, and then it has some like sage and dusty blue and some purples in it. So yeah, it turned out really good. And this Basil was a mist dye as well, which is why I got to knit with it. So
That's perfect. But it is like basil is one of your colors that is available.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is one of our colors. Both the colors that I use for this sweater are available in our shop. So as like standard colorways. Yeah, just that one that she's got was a special one. So we mess up colors quite often. And so we do have a section in our shop called mist dyes, or imperfect steins, we call them. So they're either mist dyes or they've got something wrong with them, and we sell them at a discount for people. So
and the something wrong is just that it's different from your typical.
Yeah. Usually if the dye breaks a different way that we're expecting, like we've actually changed our basil recipe because it kept breaking into blue and green, and we weren't getting consistent results. So we've changed it now. So now we're getting consistency, which is really, really super important to us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We want our colors, what they look like on the website is what we want you to be opening when you get your package. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
have lots of colors that we just determine are, nope, they're not good enough. Nope, they're not good enough. So it's kind of exhausting.
I'm sure. Well, and you guys, like, you have different bases that you use, right? So how does that work? Like putting basil on a different base.
It works fairly good between the bases. They all turn out pretty consistent between the bases. Yeah.
We do test it though. When we're doing a new
Yeah.
color, before we will release a color, we'll have usually try to test it on every base. The thicker the base is, they take a little differently. Like our fingering weight ones take them pretty much exactly the same. Those are never a surprise. It's the worsted and the sport that we will sometimes run into problems with. And so we always try to, I guess I shouldn't say always. Sometimes we jump in and then we regret it because then the color doesn't work. And then we're like, what do we do? And that's when they end up in the mist dye. And then we're like, oh, so you might see a color that's like on our website this month, but next month it's gone. It's because we I'm struggling with it. We're learning though.
Yeah.
And that's part of this adventure of being a dyer. Like it is a constant learning journey as an artist. I mean, that's what you are as artists.
Yeah, it's always a work in progress.
Where we started and where we are now are so vastly different.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's been a road, that's for sure. Me?
So tell me about the bases that you guys use and how you get such awesome consistency across them. Like, do you do non-superwash or is it more superwash? Do you introduce any other fibers in?
So right now, like we're really familiar. We started off with a superwash blend. I think we had two bases. We had a fingering and a sport. So we just stick with the superwash right now. We do hope to play with some non-superwash in the future. Just right now, we're kind of focusing on what we know because we figure we've got it figured out now. So, so we do use mostly a superwash merino. And so we have a sock blend. So that is our light sock. And then we have lush fingering, which is 100% merino. Comfort sport, which is kind of like a light or a heavy sport, light DK. So we use them interchangeably. We call it comfort sport DK. And we use that one. That was 100% merino as well. And our worsted as well is 100%. And then we have a couple specialty blends. We use we have a mohair blend, which is a mohair silk. And what's the last one? The linen. Yes. So it's a mohair, merino linen. And it is, I think, like an 85-15 or a 90-10. 90-10. And it's really beautiful. We really like that one. It has like, the linen is really soft in it. It's like, if you're knitting with linen, sometimes it can be kind of crunchy until it blooms and blossoms a little bit after its final wash. But this one, it feels like it's already pre-softened. So it's not stringy. It's in there like little nubs. And so it makes a really interesting texture and like almost like a frosted look, and it's super drapey and it's beautiful. It's actually my most favorite. Everything I've dyed on it, I just love it. So I would, that one, if I had a yarn that I would like desert island yarn, it would be that one for sure. Also because it's a desert island, so it's a little cooler because the linen content in it. Oh yeah, and then what was the second part of the question was how we get it to dye consistently?
Yeah.
That's more Tara. For tonals, I would say.
I have recipes that I follow on all the bases straight across, and because they all weigh the same, the recipes will convert easily from one to the other pretty well. So yeah, and it's
we've developed our recipes over time too, so that we layer and layer and layer. So some of them are 3 or 4 steps just to get the color on there, especially for the tonals. It's not just one base because you can get the pooling and flashing a lot. So it's multiple layers across all the bases. And we found that seems to give that really rich depth that we're looking for in the tonals. And with the speckles and the variegateds that I do them in a pan, like a low pan. So it's like low immersion, I guess. And just very, very specific recipes. I write down exactly how many, like, okay, well, if I'm doing this color, it has like 3 or 4 spots that have this section. Sometimes I've even drawn it out in my book so that I know where I'm placing the color, so that everything, it looks as close as possible. I mean, with hand dyed, you're going to get a little bit variation each time, but yeah, definitely want no surprises when people get their yarn.
Yeah, that's so important. Like as a knitter, I don't know how many times I've like, you get a skein or 2 skeins, whatever, you're making whatever project. And the one skein, the colors are going in a certain way, blah, blah, blah. And then the next skein, it's so obvious that it's a different skein of yarn. They've been all like broken up and it's a really pretty, like, just, and then all of a sudden it's like this river of color going through it.
I know, it's really hard to not, I keep touching my face. Sorry, I'm nervous. It's really hard to keep it consistent, but we try our best, and so far it seems to be working pretty good.
That's amazing. It's that attention to detail that really is the quality of hand-dyed yarn that's done well, is that attention to detail, making sure that you have the knitter or crocheter or weaver, whoever's going to be using your yarn, in mind while you're making it, instead of just focusing on, I'm going to put some color on some yarn and it's going to look amazing as a skein.
Yeah, exactly. And it actually did take us quite a while because we were knitters first. And so we had knit with hand-dyed yarn, and we had found that in some cases where it was pooling or it was doing things that we didn't personally love. Like, I'm not a big fan of the pooling. I want it to look consistent. Same with Tara. So then when we approached our business, we approach it as knitters first. So what do we want to see when we're buying yarn? Well, let's produce that then. So that hasn't failed us yet. So when I'm creating a color, we'll always swatch it. And if it's pooling, it's back into the pans, refigure it out, see what's, what we can do to make it. Because our goal is to create sweater quantities, like something that person could use for socks or for sweaters, right? Some colorways will work wonderfully for socks, but you're going to get something weird happening in the sweater, right? So we do try to slowly eliminate the colors that we find don't fit our aesthetic now. And then when we're creating, we keep that in mind too, about ease and versatility, I guess, is what for garments and small projects.
Yeah, beautiful.
Okay.
So you seem like a very well-functioning partnership, and it's very nice, I would think, to have a partner when you're doing so much. Can you give me an idea of how you, what roles you do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do mostly the tonals. That's just seems to be where it fell. Jaedyn does all the speckles. She's a little more easygoing, free-flowing. I'm a little more subdued and I need the control. So it's true. So when it comes to the dyeing, that's how we've kind of divided it up. So she's in charge of all the speckles. I've tried to do her colorways and they turn out completely different. But I have my recipes written down in such a way that she can follow them, and she knows my steps, so she can do mine, but I can't do hers. So.
Yeah, I find that too, we fell into our roles kind of like how our personalities are too. I'm more extroverted and outgoing, and Tara's very reserved and quiet. And she is drawn to the tonals and the more solid colors. Whereas if I'm yarn shopping, I'm looking at the, the bright colors and the speckles and stuff like that. But yeah, so we kind of just fell into these roles. And then when we had to do like our social media, so I run the social media. So if you're talking to me on Instagram or Facebook or any of those places, you're likely talking to me. And Tara does all the things like the bookwork in the back, which is quite boring, but I mean, she likes spreadsheets and numbers, and I'm like,
I'm trained in.
Yeah, exactly. She knows what she's doing. So I'm very glad for that, because I have no clue. So yeah. So I think with the speckles, like when last year when I wasn't in the shop very much, Tara had to do the speckles. So I was at home, I was quarantining because I had been in the hospital. So I had to quarantine when I came home. And so we were FaceTiming, and I'm like, okay, now put the color here, put the color here. Okay, now no less speckles than that. So it was interesting.
Yeah.
That is not something I'd want to do by video. I don't think, like, that would be very hard to replicate a very specific.
I've got a picture actually on our Instagram, and I'm going like this. I'm watching. It's in the top corner. I screenshotted because she's got the yarn, and she's putting the color on. She's like this, and I'm like, yeah, it's like that. It turned out beautiful. She held down the fort by herself completely for about 4 weeks, and yeah, she was doing good. But yeah, we've definitely decided she likes to do the tonals, and I like to do the speckles, and we've been doing this for 4.5 years, so we know where we belong.
Yeah, we try to have play days, and yeah, Jaedyn will just randomly put color on and make it look beautiful, and then I just hesitate so much when it comes to speckles and variegateds. I just can't.
Well, I think what it is like you can't visualize how it's going to look, and whereas I seem to be able to do that, or I have enough experience now from all the ways I've dyed it before that I know now, like, okay, well, if I do this, it's not going to look good, or it's going to bleed together. Like, I understand more about color theory and stuff. And Tara really loves the tonals, and so when we're developing new colors for tonals and stuff like that, that's Tara's. She's always has the idea. So of what's missing in our palette and stuff like that. So, and she knows, like what colors work well together to make the depth of what she's looking for, like the ratios, the numbers. Whereas I'm like, maybe this, maybe this will look good. I don't know. And then she'll go and tweak it, and I'll be like, okay, that's what I would do.
So the ladies from Midknit Cravings are actually our silver sponsors. And so you will see a banner ad for them everywhere. Feel free to click on that and visit them in the virtual expo booth. We have a number of hours dedicated just for shopping, so you can buy lots of yarn from them. And so tell us, it sounds like you have some specials and activities planned. Please inform us.
Yeah, so we will both be in our booth during the virtual booth the hours that you guys have set. So we'll be there available to chat live. So you can use the chat, or you can use the video chat. We will be available for that. Also on Saturday, we're planning a scavenger hunt. So we will have in our booth, when you look at our information, you should be able to see our times. We'll be doing it through Zoom. So we'll have the Zoom codes and everything. So the scavenger hunt will be from 2 p.m. till 2:20 or so. It's just going to be like a quick, really fun activity to do. And then we're going to do a show and tell. So if anybody has any yarn that they've been working on, like a whip or an FO that they would like to share with us, we would absolutely love to see what you're working on. So we're going to just do that for from what time? It starts at 2:30. I think it goes till 4, or whenever the virtual booths go live again. So those will be what we're doing. And then on Sunday, we're planning, gonna do one-on-one color consultations. So if there's anything that you have as a project that you're wanting to work on, like a Zweig or anything really, and you're wanting to know what colors will pair with each other and stuff like that, then we'll be available on hand to do a one-on-one and find the perfect combo for you.
Yeah, so all the details will be in that little description right at the
Mhm.
very beginning in our booth.
Yeah, all the Zoom codes and the time slots and stuff. And if you want a time slot for the color consults, then you're welcome to message us, and because we'll have 5 slots available. They're half an hour time slots. So you have lots of time to mix and match and say, oh, what works with this? Okay, I don't really like that. Or, you know,
And they're just one-on-one too. So
yeah, so
you
there's
can,
no pressure.
it's all for you. Just we can run and get a yarn and
Yeah, show our
and-
swatches
yeah.
and
All
things
that.
like that, so that we don't have to worry about other people like chiming in or interrupting your thought process and stuff. So we're looking forward to that. So hopefully that's something that people will really like to see. And then also in the booth, we decided that we were going to create a couple new colorways, which is something fun to do. We don't do it very often when we're doing shows, but this time we felt like we definitely wanted to. So
And it deserved 2 different new
we couldn't
colorways.
choose. So this one is, we called it Wild Rose, and I think you guys would know why.
Yes.
So it's a soft petal pink, and then it has these speckles of like leafy green and a deep hot pink for like the rose hips, and then the pollen is in there with the yellow.
Oh my
So we
goodness.
will have these on all our skeins, and then we're going to have a mini set as well, which I don't have a picture, but we'll have a mini set with that one. And then this one is called Gateway.
Aw.
Love it.
So
What's
and
the
it is,
inspiration for that name?
oh, I kind of, yeah.
Just like
So
it.
Gateway to the North, obviously, for Edmonton.
Yeah.
So it's the inspiration for this one. So it's a beautiful, like pale gray. It's got some sky blue in there, and then a lot of like a sagey, deep sprucey green, and then the speckles, which are very nature inspired. So I really love this. We're gonna have 2 samples as well. We don't have them yet. I'm knitting one right now, and I'm frantically trying to get it finished. And we had a friend knit another one, and she's got it on the way to us now. So we should have some samples up of how these knit up, and yeah, and so you can see them back here. Some of them will have more dyed, but this is what we've got so far.
Yeah, and I think it's we wanted to mention too that if you go into the booth and click on, there'll be
Oh, like the
one-
display items at the
yeah.
bottom of the shop.
there'll be one for each of them down there, and there's a little coupon code in there so that
Yes.
you can get 15% off during the show.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
show-
you want to go and grab the coupon code.
Yeah, there'll be 15% off for the weekend, the mini kits and the full skeins as well. So as a, like not really an exclusive, it'll be available afterwards as well, but as a perk for buyers, they'll get a discount off those colorways.
Gorgeous.
Ollie, do you just want to give them your credit card right now?
Yeah.
Tell them your number. These are totally your jam. I can tell why you love them
Yeah.
so much. They're so beautiful. So
Thank
elegant, very elegant colorways.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun to develop them. I was lucky. They worked out the first time. I didn't have to
Yeah, as soon as we signed up, Jaedyn was in the
in there.
pots.
It's like, I already know what I want to do. So, well, we looked up inspiration photos of Edmonton. We actually were both born, and Tara was raised in Alberta, and I lived there till I was 13. So it's like, we do know a little bit about Alberta.
Yeah.
So, and we had the wild roses growing on our acreage and stuff like that. So it's, I knew exactly what I wanted for that one as soon as we
Yeah.
signed up for the Edmonton Fibre Frolic. So
A little bit of home.
yeah, it is. Yeah. So we're Saskatchewan girls now, but Alberta girls at heart. So
Yeah.
It's the prairies.
it is the prairie.
Yeah.
Exactly. But we don't have wild roses here,
Oh,
which is surprising. We don't have them here.
that is.
Wow.
We have crocuses and prairie lilies, but we don't, very rarely do we see wild roses.
Oh, man. You need to like come visit for an in-person show and like dig some up and take it with you. Or
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Plant them in my yard.
We need some help out front here. So.
Oh my goodness.
You
There's
go.
also why our shop isn't open. So our poor front. I mean, it's been a rental for so many years, so there's been like no landscaping done, so it's just kind of horrendous now. I'm not a gardener, I'm a dyer.
Yeah.
I can't do both.
Do not have the green.
Thank
No.
you. Thank you guys so much for joining us, taking this time to tell us about who you are and your process. I'm totally fangirling over here as a fellow dyer and like yarn junkie. Yeah, I love what you guys are doing. It's so pretty.
Thank you.
It's so pretty.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been a process.
Yes.
Some days it's still like we're ready to throw our gloves in, call it done. But I think we would miss it within a very short period of time. We really love our jobs and being able to have that connection to the knitting community. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The people that you're serving, like on the days when
absolutely.
colors aren't going right, it's the people that you're serving that it's ultimately you get up and go the next day again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
for
Yeah,
sure.
it's so much fun when we get emails and we can help people and stuff like that, and seeing that how excited they are when they find the perfect color for them or the perfect project for them. And yeah, we're in it for the community definitely, and for the joy that brings to them and for ourselves too. Because it's a hard job, and it's like if we didn't love it, we wouldn't be doing it. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Tara and Jaedyn, Midknit Cravings, you guys are awesome. Everybody watching this, you got to meet them virtually in their booth on May 29 and 30 here at the Edmonton Fibre Frolic. There's links everywhere, our bio everywhere. Midknit Cravings probably has links on their website too. Come join us. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. Thank you
Yes,
so much for having
sure.
us.
Yeah.